Now on YouTube, it's time for some alternative commentary action with the Commentary Hub.
There's headed by Marina, and it's 2-1 to Arsenal.
Look at that pass! Go Oranje today!
Takes this corner, whips it in, it's headed and it's a goal, and it's that man, Gabriel.
Liverpool have equalised. Lovely improvisational touch from Curtis Jones.
Oh, what a goal! Wow, take it out! Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending where you are across the world. Welcome to the CommentryHub's coverage of the Netherlands against Sweden here on TCHub Live World Cup 2026. It's the GroupF encounter at the NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas, for this game between the Netherlands and Sweden. I'm Sven and I'm the host for today's match, and we've got the brilliant commentary team of Daniel Money and Nicholas Jones with us today. Before we get to Dan to give you the important team news and officials ahead of this game, let's just bring in Nicholas briefly for a moment. And Nicholas, just want to get your thoughts on where do you think this game could be won and lost today, having seen both lineups?
In terms of the Group F permutations, I'd say Sweden are in the prime position. They absolutely thumped Tunisia 5-1, but they are likely to win against the Netherlands, but with less goals. However, Sweden can make the top spot if they beat the Netherlands and if Japan fail to beat Tunisia later on.
Yes, Nick, what is your score prediction for this game? Do you think Sweden will get the job done today, or do you think the Netherlands will be too strong?
I'm inclined to think 2-1 Sweden because they're up. I'm inclined to say 2-1 Sweden because they're up against the Netherlands. But if the Netherlands can win it, then I'd say 1-0.
Okie dokie then, Nicholas. Thank you very much. There, we'll hear from Nicholas throughout the first half of the season. Co-commentary for today's match, and it's now time to hand over to your commentary team, Nicholas Jones. But first, Daniel Money.
Good afternoon, good evening and good morning, listeners. Wherever you are in the world, we have a cracking game lined up for us today, Holland versus Sweden. As the players are just undertaking the national anthems, and then we'll shortly be underway. We'll go through the team lineups, and for starting with Holland, in goal it is Bart Verbruggen, Denzel Dumfries at right back, Virgil van Dijk, Jean-Paul Hecker in the middle. Mickey van der Ven could be lining up as a left back, or they could switch to a back three. It's the midfield trio of Ryan Gravenberch, Frankie de Jong and Tijani Reinders. Daniel Marlon and Cody Gakpo are on the wings, and Sunderland's very own Brian Bobby up front for the Dutch. The Swedish lineup is Christopher Nordfeldt in goal, a back three consisting of Victor Lindelof, Gustav Lagerbielk and Isaac Hien. A midfield five of Jasper Karlström, Benjamin Nygren, Yasin Ayari, Gabriel Gudmundsson on the left, and Alexander Bernhardsson on the right, and a front two of Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak. And the players are just high-fiving each other and will be underway very shortly. Today's referee is Michael Oliver from England, representing the Premier League. The two assistants are Stuart Burt and James Mainwaring, both of England. The fourth official is Abigail Tom from South Africa. Reserve assistant referee is Zakeli Siwela from South Africa. And the video assistant referee is Jared Gillett from England. And his assistants are Ivan Giba from Croatia and Rodolfo Toski of Brazil. As Michael Oliver now brings the ball to the centre of the pitch, we're awaiting kickoff. So, Nicholas, you in the pre-match conversation, you tended to favour the Swedes today. What makes you favour the Swedes?
I'd have to. As I mentioned, Dan, it's because of the. As I mentioned, Dan, it's because of how they performed against Tunisia. I'd say they're a bit more aggressive up front, particularly with the likes of Gyökeres, and also Yassine Ayari, who made in the first game against Tunisia. I'm not writing off the Netherlands by any means, but you've got to remember that they do have Virgil van Dijk captaining the side, and also do not discount the likes of Cody Gakpo and Tijani Reinders.
Well, I get for a bit of entertainment value, Nicholas. I'm going to go with the Dutch, and I'm going to go with a scoreline of 3-1. And I'm very interested to see how Donyell Malen plays today. I mean, since he's January switched to Roma, he really has lit up Serie A. With, I think it was 14 goals in 18 appearances. A very good return in such a short space of time. So we're still waiting for kickoff. Just going to double check that. So Donyell Malen, where's he gone? It was 14 goals in 18 games from his January switch to Roma. So we'll shortly be underway. Sweden win, that will guarantee qualification to the last 32. A defeat for Holland would leave them up against it, but they would have their final game against Tunisia and could turn it around then. Well, Sweden's final game is against Japan. And never underestimate the Japanese. Graham Potter done a fantastic job since taking over Sweden. This is the first time he's named an unchanged side since he took over. So we're just about to get underway. Victor Gyökeres there. Sweden are playing in their away strip of blue, and Holland in their home strip of the very recognisable orange. And we're just waiting to get underway now. And it will be the Dutch who get us underway. And Michael Oliver just having a word with Brian Bobby, it looks like, before we start. And will we see what is now becoming a very traditional kickoff, where it's played back to the goalkeeper. Yes, it is back to Verbruggen, and he'll probably look to play it long up the pitch. As he plays it long, as it comes down the right, Dumfries beaten in the air by Gudmundsson, and it's a throw into Holland, about halfway inside the Swedish half. You've got to be quick, guys. There's only the new 5-second rule. A big long throw from Dumfries looking for Robbie, and that's bounced all the way through. And did he keep it in? I don't think that was kept in there. Yeah. Tijani Reinders making the run in, trying to keep the ball in, but the ball's just drifted out. That'll be Nordveld who gets us back underway, taking the goal kick from the middle of his goal, and he goes long, and he's straight down the middle, slightly to the left, and that's headed back and out of play just inside the Swedish defensive half. Big powerful header, I think was Van Dijk coming out to meet the long kick out from Nordveld. As the throw-in is taken back, and it's thrown back to the Swedish defenders, and he plays it back to the goalkeeper, and there's Nordveld. He's just standing on it as he looks to go long. And this time he clips it down the right, looking for Gyökeres, who tries to lay it off, but just behind. And the ball, and there's some good defending there, stepping in front of Hopkins, and the ball's played through the middle, and he's bursting into the box, and some good defending there from Sweden. And plays it out to Gudmundsson on the left-hand side, closed down by Dumfries. And it's a throw into Sweden, just roughly in front of their 18-yard box. A good interception there, taking the ball off Tijani Reinders' feet. As the throw-in goes long from Gudmundsson, looking for Gyökeres, and that's easily headed away and headed back by Sweden. And the ball's played up to Gyökeres, just inside the Swedish half. And the referee's blown for a foul on Alexander Isak. Frankie, and that looked like Van Hecker just stepping in front. Easing Isak off the ball, preventing him from getting the return pass. The ball's back now. And Sweden playing it from left to right along the back four. A little tricky pass into the middle. Look back to Lindelof. Up to the right-hand side, Bernhardsson. Back to Lindelof. And back to Nordfeld. As they're switching play from right to left. Nordfeld goes long up the left wing. A little flick on there, and Gyökeres, he's won the ball, but he looked like he was coming back from an offside position. Slightly delayed being seen there by the referee, but the offside has been given. Good little flick on there. Was that Ayari? And yeah, Gyökeres straight offside, or coming back onside to gain possession. Now it's the Dutch. Van Dijk in the middle of the park, bringing it forward, looking for options. Goes to Van Heck. Van Heck to Dumfries on the right-hand side. Back to Van Heck. Van Heck along to Van Dijk. Across to Van der Ven. Now we know Van der Ven can power forward. And he goes over to Cody Gakpo. Back to Van der Ven along the left side, coming back inside. Van Dijk clipping the long ball over the top. He's looking for his Liverpool, and the ball's just been ushered out for a goal kick. Some good defending there, showing his power and for preventing Bobby from getting the ball. That's Isaac Hein just preventing Robbie from getting the ball and seeing the ball out for a Sweden goal kick. Veld places the ball in the middle of the, slightly to the right hand, by the right post, and he goes long. Straight down the middle towards the right hand side of Dumfries, wins the header. That's one in the middle of the park by the Swedish midfielder. Van Hecker knocking it forward. Bobby lays it off to De Jong, and De Jong had the ball knocked off him, and it's gone out for a Dutch throw-in. Daniel Marlon had the ball knocked off him there, sorry, and the ball's gone out for a throw-in. And Dumfries, as we see earlier, with a long throw, plays it short to Daniel Marlon. He turns. Plays it inside as the Dutch back to Van Dijk, over to Van Heck, and going from right to the centre, back to right again. Van Heck to Dumfries, back to Van Heck, and he's going to go all the way back to Verbruggen. Just outside his box, plays a lovely pull out to the left to Van der Ven. Van der Ven back inside to Van Dijk. Van Dijk assessing his options and goes back to Verbruggen, who's being closed down there by Alexander Isak, and plays it up, and it's Brian Bobby who wins the ball, lays it off as the Dutch come flying down the left. It's Cody Gakpo, and he's played it across, and it's a goal! Cody Gakpo plays the ball across the 6-yard box, and it's Brian Bobby who touches the ball into the goal. 1-0 to the Dutch. A lovely move down the left-hand side. Started by Van Dijk, looking for his Liverpool teammate, Cody Gakpo, who drives down the wing, into the box, plays a lovely ball just along the 6-yard box for Brian Bobby to smash home. And what do you think of that goal, Nicholas?
Great teamwork between Gakpo and Brian Bobby. Sweden should have spotted Brian Bobby. He was completely unmarked, and they paid for this lack of attention to detail. And as we know, sometimes if you can see very early on the back foot, then you're in big trouble throughout the rest of the game.
That's it. Sweden get us back underway, and they play it back to the left-hand side. Vincent, the Leeds defender, started to run up towards the Dutch goal, but turns and plays it back to the defender, who's just got the ball, plays it across the right, and plays it out to the right-hand side. Bernhardsson looking for the run of Victor Gyökeres, who takes it first time, and a good save by Bart Verbruggen, but some great movement there from Victor Gyökeres and it's gone out for a Sweden corner, first corner of the game. A great saves, Verbruggen sticking a foot out. Well, Nicholas, Sweden certainly back on the front foot straight away after conceding.
Yes, they certainly are. I mean, Gyökeres almost had the chance to equalise, but Bart Verbruggen once again very swift.
A good corner routine. The corner taken short, played back by Sweden, then played back in, played into the middle, and it was Alexander Isak, played it to Alexander Isak. He looks onside, just unable to control the ball and keep it in play. But a nice little corner routine there for Sweden. Unfortunately, didn't come to fruition. Wait, the Dutch take the goal kick. Oh, the offside was given. And the ball's played long up the left-hand side, looking for Brian Bobby. Flicks the header on, but there's no Dutch player in behind. And that's Lindelof picking up the ball on the Swedish right-hand side, playing the ball back to Christopher Nordveld, who plays it back to Lindelof. Oh, like a little risky pass there, but played off as the Swedish play up the right-hand side. Van der Ven wins the ball back. Plays it back to Verbruggen, who chased down by Gyökeres. Knocks it up and high. And Sweden win the ball back just inside their own half. There's this bit of head tennis there, trying to get it under control. All a bit scrappy there in the centre circle. And the Dutch win a free kick for a foul on Brian Bobby. Frankie de Jong to take the free kick. Michael Oliver. There we go. Now it's Van Dijk taking the free kick, and he plays it across to Van Hecke. To Dumfries on the right-hand side as Dumfries is assessing his options. Plays it back to Van Hecke. Van Hecke bringing the ball forward, crosses over into the Swedish half. Still on the ball, looking for options. Plays it into Bobby, and that's some good defending there from Sweden, but it's been picked up by Marlon, and the ball's been played into the middle, clipped off a Swedish defender, and hoofed away. Up and under, and Van der Ven wins the ball, takes it under control, back to Van Dijk. Van Dijk forward. Tajani Reinders on the ball now. Played across to, no, that's Frankie de Jong, sorry, to Van Hecke. Van Hecke to Dumfries. Into de Jong. To Marlon. Marlon to Dumfries. All down the right-hand side for Holland here, and he plays it back to Van Hecke, who switches play to Van Dijk and then to Van der Ven over on the left-hand side. Up to Cody Gakpo, who flicks it on for Brian Bobby, and what a turn! And he's gone down there. I don't think there was anything in it. Nordveld chased down, and the ball appears to have gone out for a goal kick, but what a turn there from Brian Bobby. He tried to get in. The Swedish defence, though, showing their strength. No free kick as Robbie went down. A little bit messy. And it's eventually a Swedish throw on the right-hand side in line with the 18-yard box. And Holland have won, the Netherlands have won the ball back. Van der Ven back to Van Dijk. Van Dijk just in left-hand side in his own half across to Van Hecke. And he switches the play out to the right-hand side to Denzel Dumfries. He plays it back to Van Hecke. Van Hecke into de Jong. De Jong, a lovely little pass there to Dumfries. Looking for his options. Still on the ball, plays it to Daniel Marlin. Quick 1-2. Daniel Marlin's down the right. He gets the cross in. He comes to the far post, headed back. No, and the header drops comfortably to Christopher Nordveld. A good little move there from the Dutch, Nicholas.
Yes, indeed. Nice control of the ball by the Netherlands, and as I mentioned, Sweden. Despite catching up, they're still behind. It's up to the Netherlands to keep up their momentum.
A long ball, and Cody Gakpo was in there. Sorry, Nicholas. But won the ball back in their own half, past the Dumfries. Dumfries quick thing, playing the ball behind the Swedish defence into the 18-yard box, between the 18-yard line and penalty box, looking for Gakpo on the left, and it was Lindelof who got in and just nicked the ball away from Cody Gakpo out for a Dutch corner. The Dutch corner will be taken on the left-hand side. It looked like for an in-swinger. Brian Bobby, Virgil van Dijk around Nordfeldt. It's in there and headed away at the near post. The Swedish defender, and it's out for a throw-in to Holland throw-in. I think it was Jokeres who got the header away at the near post. And it's a Dutch throw-in on the left-hand side, just in line with the Sweden 18-yard line. They're just looking for runners here on the throat. And he's just knocked it forward, and a good little turn there from Cody Gakpo. And he's tried to play the ball across under pressure from Lindelof. And the ball's gone out for a Sweden goal kick. 12.5 minutes gone. The Netherlands leading 1-0 thanks to the early goal from Brian Bobby, assisted by Cody Gakpo. And Graham Potter's got some work to do to get his team back into this. As Christopher Nordfeldt just bringing the ball up to the 18-yard box as he's just come outside of his area now. Looking for his option. He plays it to the left. Isaac Hine. Out to Dickinson. Flicks it up and knocks it long down the Swedish left-hand side. And that's easily cut out by Van Heck, who heads it forward, and that's Tijani Reinders with a long ball looking for Cody Gakpo. And I believe that was Lindelof in the way to head it away. But the Dutch still on the attack down the left-hand side. On the ball, looking for options, and he's gone back to Van der Ven. Van der Ven looking for his... Frankie de Jong, sorry, looking for his options. Over to the left-hand side. That looks like Van der Ven playing at the left-back, high up the pitch now. The ball comes back from left to right. Van Dijk switches it to Denzel Dumfries. Plays it out to the right to Daniel Marlon. Looks to beat his man, Goodmanson. Plays the ball inside to Johnny Reinders. Looking to beat the player's little ball inside. It's well cut out. And, he's just kept in there. But no, it wasn't. It's just the ball crept out, and it'll be a Sweden goal kick. But some nice, intricate passing from the Dutch there. And the Dutch forward have just strayed offside. So it'll be a free kick to Sweden, roughly in line with the penalty spot. Excuse me. It'll be Christopher Nordfeldt. He stole a yard or two there. Plays it short in the middle of the park, and the Swedes bring it out. Karlström plays it back to Hine, back into Karlström, plays it out to Lindelof on the right hand side, looking to bring the ball on the right hand side. He's looking for Isaac, but the ball's been cut out in the middle of the park by the Dutch, and the Dutch have burst into the penalty box. A little shot away there to Tijani Reinders. And the ball's gone out for a Sweden goal kick. Nordfeldt not troubled. But that was a sloppy pass looking for Isaac. It looked like he wasn't expecting it. Easily cut out by the Dutch. And it's Lindelof there who stays strong. And Tijani pulls out of having the shot, and the ball bobbled behind for a goal kick to Sweden. And we've got a problem with the ball here. As Christopher Nordfeldt picks it up, gives it to Michael Oliver, and it looks like it may have gone flat. Oh, I think that's got to be a tournament first, Nicholas, hasn't it?
Well, defective balls are a rare thing, but you might remember in Euro 2016, a couple of balls actually exploded. So they must be glad that it was only just a small puncture.
Your memory's better than mine, Nicholas, as the Dutch have the ball, playing it out from their own 18-yard box. Van Hecker up to Tijani Reinders, out to the left-hand side as Van der Ven looks to burst forward. Midway inside the Swedish half, coming back inside now. De Jong to Tijani Reinders, over to Daniel Marlon, who's got Dumfries on the outside. First time ball, struck in again, and Brian Bobby slid in. And that's his second of the game. An assist for Dumfries, plays the ball along the floor. Robbie attacks it, sticks out a leg and just knocks it past Nordfeldt. And it's 2-0 to the Dutch. Another well-worked goal. Nicholas, can you give me your thoughts on that one?
Yes, that's right. Denzel Dumfries knew where Bobby was. He he was focused on him, and Bobby was like, thanks very much. I'll just finish it off right there, and then momentary loss of pictures on my monitor, but got them back quickly.
Oh, me too. That was a little touch off, I think it was Goodmanston, as Dumfries played the ball in, which probably assisted Robbie attacking the ball, but a little stuck out of foot and flicked it past. Then Sweden get us back underway. Lindelof out to Bernardsson, who's pressed very quickly by Cody Gakpo there. And they've gone all the way back to Nordfeldt, and Brian Bobby chasing him down, rushing it, and it's Goodmansson under pressure right on the touchline. Done very well to keep that in. And he takes the throw in and he knocks it back to Lagerbielk. It's Nordveld over on the right hand side of his penalty box. He plays the ball back to Hein. He's being pressed by Bobby. Plays it back to his goalkeeper Nordveld, who's just outside his penalty box on the right hand side, and he goes long looking for Gyökeres. And Van Dijk wins the header on the edge of the Dutch 18-yard box. And that'll be a free kick to Holland. Taken quickly, and it's played to Van Heck. Van Heck looking for Dumfries. Dumfries back to Van Heck as he looks to bring the ball forward into De Jong. De Jong plays it out to the right-hand side to Dumfries. He's on the ball, just taking his time, plays it back to Van Heck. Van Heck up to De Jong. De Jong looking for his options, slips it inside. Gianni Reinders, who plays it out to the right-hand side to Denzel Dumfries. Dumfries back to Van Heck. Van Heck to Van Dijk. As they're going from left to right and right into the middle to De Jong. And out to the right-hand side to Dumfries. Dumfries plays it back into the middle again. De Jong on the ball looking for his options to Dumfries. Dumfries plays it back to Van Heck, who's just inside the Dutch half. Plays it across to Van Dijk. Back to Van der Ven. Van der Ven back to Van Dijk as the Dutch are just keeping hold of the ball in possession and playing it along the back four. Played a lovely little pass from Van Heck into De Jong, who turns and bursts into the Sweden half. Plays it out to the right-hand side to Charlie Reinders, out to Daniel Marlon. He had Dumfries on the overlap there. Excuse me, who just strayed offside. And Sweden win the ball back and play the ball long up the right-hand side. Van Dijk wins the ball back and plays it back to Verbruggen, who plays to Van Heck, who's bringing the ball up on the left-hand side. Plays it to Van der Ven. Van der Ven calmly back to his goalkeeper. And Verbruggen plays a little pass out to De Jong, who's on the ball. Plays it to the left-hand side to Van Heck. It looks like Van Heck and Van Dijk have switched sides here for a minute. And the ball's played up to Cody Gakpo on the left-hand side, who's driving down the left wing. Bernardsson just gets a touch, knocks it off Cody Gakpo and wins Sweden the free kick. There's Graham Potter there thinking of how to change things, where to make the tactical tweaks in order to get Sweden up the pitch a bit more and get some efforts on goal. The Dutch controlling football nicely in the middle of the park. De Jong, nice little maestro, pulling the strings in the centre of the park there, and that's a sloppy pass. Almost left Van Dijk short, who played the ball up to Reinders, and a good tackle there, and now Sweden on the attack. And Dumfries eases Yasin, is that Ayari? Dumfries eases Yasin Ayari off the ball. And it'll be a free kick to Sweden. Inside the Dutch half. Yeah, just eases him off the ball. Oh, no free kick given. And the Dutch have the ball. Van Heck into De Jong. It's a nice little triangle move they've got there. Dumfries, Van Heck and De Jong. And free kick awarded, tackled by Lagerbielk. It looked like to Johnny Reinders, he went into the back of there. Look to swing this one into the penalty box. They all make their way forward. Walking pace, and the ball's clipped over to the left-hand side to Cody Gakpo. Sweden asleep there. The ball's played in the middle. Headed out by Lagerbielk. Knocked back in there. And with the header and the ball's on the edge of the box, picked up and headed on. And Sweden's knocked the ball clear. A nice little head on there. But Sweden getting back in numbers. I think the referee has blown for a free kick, for a foul. And it'll be a free kick to Sweden inside their penalty box. Michael Oliver coming over. Be interesting to know what the temperature is. Oh, it's the hydration break. So, Nicholas, your thoughts on the first half so far?
First half, I'd say it's kind of been all Netherlands. Virgil van Dijk, I should mention, has criticised FIFA over the hydration breaks, saying they disrupt momentum. But on the contrary, in some of the games that we've seen, opposing teams some teams have actually benefited from hydration breaks. Yet other people have said it's counterproductive. One must question whether the hydration break will affect the Netherlands' performance. But Sweden possibly may need to take advantage of the hydration breaks to get themselves more into an attacking position. But we shall see.
I can see where Van Dijk's coming from, because a couple of the games I've seen where teams have been in the ascendancy and controlling possessions, the hydration breaks have hindered their momentum. But it's like a tactical timeout nowadays, isn't it? Gives both teams a chance to reset, reassess, get some instructions from the managers. Just having a look at the second goal then, maybe the Swede Norvelt could have done better there. Maybe it was a little deflection off the defender and he misjudged his dive, but I think the Swedish goalkeeper certainly could have done better with the second goal. It was Ronald Koeman giving his instructions. I don't know what more he could say, really. More of the same, please, gentlemen. I must say, the Dutch have been looking very impressive. Frankie de Jong in the middle, turning on a sixpence a few times and creating opportunities for the Dutch to get forward. Graham Potter giving his last set of instructions there. Edmondson. Brian Bobby, the 2-goal hero. Will he get a hat-trick, Nicholas? What do you reckon?
Who knows? He could well do so. I mean, given the way he's playing, and as we've seen on the pitch, and also generally, he has explosive speed on the pitch. We appear to have problems with Dan, and we're now just over 25 and a half minutes in. It's still the Netherlands 2, Sweden 0, as the ball now being played down on the left side towards the Netherlands.
Sorry, Nicholas.
Van der Ven.
Look, Van der Ven down the left-hand side, battling away, winning the ball back, knocks it off. It comes off the Swedish player, and then Sweden win the ball back on the right-hand side, looking to attack. Bernhardsson inside, laid off there, back into the middle. The ball played across. Oh, and some great defending there. Not only winning the ball back, but preventing the corner. Ayari, Jokeres. And the ball played down the side, and it's gone out for a Dutch throw-in. Sorry, folks, a bit of technical difficulties there. Back now. Some fantastic. The Swede, well, as we said, Nicholas, in the hydration break, the Sweden have come out, and they're on the ascendancy now. Is it?
Oh, sorry. Yes, indeed. I feel they are benefiting from the hydration break.
It's a long throw, looking to come in here. very high. Little flick on. And Jokeres was getting a touch, just can't steer it goalwards. Michael Oliver. There appears to be a little bit of a problem here with one of the Sweden players. Is that the captain, Lindelof? Oh, he just took a ball in the face there from Karlström, not Jokeres, as the ball come in. Just having a look at the second Dutch goal. The lines are coming out, proving Robbie was onside. Sliding in, getting a little touch, knock it past the goalkeeper, and Van Heck bringing the ball out for Holland now. Approaching the plays it across to the left-hand side, and to Van Dijk. To De Jong. To Van Heck, as Van Heck approaches the Sweden half. Knocks it long. Over to the left-hand side. Cody Gakpo takes it on his chest. He's got Lindelof in front of him. Comes back inside. As the ball's played back, Van Heck picks it up. On the ball, looking for options. Clips it. Oh, that was a poor pass. And it's cut out by the Swedish defence. But they've got to burst forward here. And they play the ball up, and it's to Van Dijk. He knocks it out to Van der Ven, but Sweden just no one forward there. And Cody Gakpo looks to take on Lager Bjelk. Bjelk just holds him up. Plays it back to Frankie de Jong. Plays it on to Van Heck, who's trying to play it down the right-hand side. And now Isak up to Jokeres, who's got space. He plays the ball into the middle. Great pass! Oh! Excuse me, taken on the chest by Ayari, but he just couldn't bring it down. And the ball drifts out for a goal kick to Holland. A good pass from Jokeres. Ayari takes it, and it's just couldn't bring it down, and the ball goes out for a goal kick to the Dutch. Good football there from the Swedes, probably one of their best attacking moments so far in this first half. The Verbruggen plays it out to Van Heck. Van Heck across to Van Dijk, who's bringing the ball up to the middle. Plays it back towards the right-hand side to Van Heck. Van Heck on the ball, looking for his options. Across to Van Dijk, middle of the park, over to Van on the left-hand side, Van der Ven. Van der Ven on to Cody Gakpo. Looks to beat his man, but well held up. Sweden win the ball back and play it long back to Nordveld. Nordveld plays it out to Hein on the right-hand side. Karlström. Back to Hein. Hein to Nordveld, who's over on his left-hand side now. Playing it to the left. Up to Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson plays it inside, looking for Ayari. He turns the ball round to Jokeres. Jokeres one touch, back to Ayari. Ayari plays it up to Jokeres. Jokeres looking across the middle, and it's easily cut out and for a throw in there. Sorry, I'm getting that was Nygren, not Jokeres. As the throw in taken by Gudmundsson. He plays it back to Lindelof. Lindelof plays it inside to Nygren. The ball's there's Nygren. Now it's a little shot and the ball's bounced off. Has that gone out for a corner? Or was that a throw in? Ayari looks disappointed with himself there. I think you see some subs warming up there for Sweden. I think it may have been an offside there for Holland as they bring the ball out of play. Van Heck over to Van Dijk on the left-hand side. Back to Van Heck. Bringing the ball in the middle of the pitch, halfway inside his own half. Plays it across to Van Dijk on the left-hand side. The Dutch maintaining possession, keeping hold of the ball as Van Dijk plays it up to De Jong. Out to Cody Gakpo on the left-hand side. He knocks it back to Van der Ven. Van der Ven to De Jong, and they switch play over to the right-hand side. Van Heck in possession. Giving up Reinders. Back to Van Heck. Plays it across to Van Dijk on the left-hand side. Van Dijk plays it to Van der Ven. Van der Ven goes back to Verbruggen. Knocks it long. Didn't get much distance on the kick. The ball bounces over the Swedish defender, and Cody Gakpo there, I think, heads it out. No, it's a Dutch throw-in. Headed out by Blagult. Inside the Dutch half, about halfway. They're waiting for the ball. Verbruggen on the ball. Looks. Oh, 2 balls on the pitch. Verbruggen looks it out. And Van der Ven prepares to take the throw-in. Looking for some runners. Surely he's had the ball for more than 5 seconds there. Throws it. Robbie knocks it on. Gakpo just behind Gakpo, who made a forward run down the left-hand side, and the ball's gone out for a Swedish throw. And it's the Dutch on the attack, and look at that pace there from Robbie. As the ball's cut out, Lindelof to Nordveld. Nordveld plays it back to Lindelof, who's looking to bring the ball out here. He's standing on the ball, looking for some options. He plays it across to Blagult. Blagult plays it up to Bernardsson. Plays it inside to Alexander Isak, who's running forward at the Dutch. Knocks it on for Jokveld, who's in the box. Got some space. He has a shot. Excuse me, no power there. Tracked back by Van Dijk. No problem there. It's Hein plays the ball forward, looking for Jokered. He takes the ball, one touch into the box, another touch to keep it away from Van Heck. Doesn't get any power behind the shot, and the ball trickles to Verbruggen. And the Dutch come out, and it's Frankie de Jong in the middle of the pitch, playing it up to Reinders. Reinders turns inside the Swedish half, plays it out to Mickey Van der Ven. Van der Ven up to Cody Gakpo on the left-hand side, hugging the touchline. Back to Van der Ven as they switch play towards the right. Frankie de Jong over to Van Heck. Just crosses into the Swedish half. Back to de Jong. As de Jong brings the ball forward. Bringing it over to the left-hand side. Cody Gakpo. Back to de Jong. De Jong on the ball, looking for some options here. Just walking pace with the ball, plays it to Van Dijk. Van Dijk over to Cody Gakpo. Van der Ven. Van der Ven back to Van Dijk. Frankie de Jong bringing the ball in the middle of the park now. About halfway inside the Swedish half. Sweden just keeping their shape at the back, not really pressing the ball as Cody Gakpo finds him, receives the ball on the left-hand side. And the Dutch bring the ball back. As Van Dijk just easy on the ball to Frankie de Jong, who's just bringing the ball back, plays it over to Van Heck. Van Heck back to de Jong. De Jong in the middle of the park, looking to pull and a lovely ball over the top. And that was Daniel Marlon coming in, and he just couldn't get anything on it. The Dutch being nice and patient with their play there, Nicholas, and it almost paid off.
Yes, patience is a virtue, so the saying goes, and the Dutch and the Netherlands certainly showed that, but it didn't pay off that time. I think they will be happy just to consolidate their 2-0 lead going into the half-time break, but they will be watching. But they will be looking over their shoulders for any Sweden attacks throughout the rest of the half.
Just gone past the 35-minute mark, so the 10 minutes left plus whatever the Mark Oliver adds on for stoppage time. It's the Dutch who have a throw-in halfway in their half on the left-hand side. The ball's thrown long. It's bounced over a player. Bobby tries to turn the defender and beat him with pace, but Sweden maintain possession and bring the ball out, coming up to the halfway line. Lindelof plays the ball up to Nygren. Alexander Isak switches the ball beautifully out to the right-hand side, and it's Bernardsson. He just knocks the ball back. Now it's the Sweden who are maintaining possession with a patient build-up as they come all the way back into their own half now. Lindelof. A good ball down the middle there. One-touch football. And it's come off, and he's looking for Alexander Isak, and the ball's turned on the right-hand side. What a save from Verbruggen. Punches it away to his left-hand side, the Swedish right, and Bernardsson tries to kick the ball back in. Easily dealt with by the Dutch defence there. Bernardsson plays it back to Nygren. Nygren goes back to Hein. Across to Lindelof. Plays it forward. Ayari on the ball. As the Dutch that's Reinders putting pressure on. He wins the ball back. Dumfries picks up the loose ball. He looks to bring the ball forward, keeps possession and plays it back to Van der Ven, who's just outside the Dutch 18-yard box. And now the Dutch take the pace out of the game, maintaining some possession football, playing it along the back four, into Van Hek into De Jong. De Jong, a nice little soft pass to Van Dijk. Van Dijk over to the left-hand side to Van der Ven, who goes back to Verbruggen. Verbruggen plays it up to Frankie de Jong, who turns, bringing the ball forward. Plays it down the left-hand side to Van der Ven. Van der Ven charging forward. He's getting to the byline here. Plays the ball along the floor. And it's Lindelof who plays it out. And the goalie should have come for that. Nornfeld, he should have called that and claimed that. But the Dutch win the ball back on the left-hand side. Carl trying to burst into the box. Frankie de Jong. Van Dijk to Reinders. Reinders out to Daniel Marlon. He's got Dumfries on the overlap. He clips the ball into the middle. Headed away by Lagerbielk. Only as far as Denzel Dumfries. Dumfries back into the middle of the park. De Jong sitting deep in the midfield role. The ball's played out to the left. Cody Gakpo. Along the edge of the box, big, strong foot from long range. Straight down the throat of Christopher Nordfeldt. It's like the Swedes are struggling to get out of their half at times here, Nicholas. The Dutch pressing well.
Yes, they're certainly keeping Sweden in their place at the moment, but how long it will last remains to be seen.
So Sweden had the ball on the right-hand side. Played against... Oh, come on, Sweden. Played against Cody Gakpo, and then a wild swing there. I believe that was Lagerbielk, and the ball's bobbling around. It's Frankie de Jong who picks the ball up in the middle of the park. Nods it back to Van Hek. And Van Hek plays it to Van Dijk and moves the ball on quickly to Van der Ven down the left-hand side. Van der Ven on the ball. Looking for his options. Comes back inside to Frankie de Jong. He seems to be everywhere, de Jong. He knocks it onwards to Van Hek. Coming from left to right. Back to left. De Jong. Bringing the ball forward. He's got two Swedish defenders in front of him. A little pass there. The ball's then knocked out to Cody Gakpo. He's wide left. He beats his man into the byline. Clips the ball in. And it's just over Dumfries, who was coming in at the far post. Excuse me. As Alexander Isak has the ball. Lindelof plays it up to Karlström, who's beaten there. It's a good tackle. The ball's in the edge of the box. He's played across the goal from Daniel Marlon. And he caught both Robbie and Gakpo on their heels. That could have been an easy tap in there, Nicholas, for 3-0.
Yes, it certainly could have been. Just goes to show that even though they're 2-0 up, the Netherlands aren't being complacent.
That's right, not resting on their laurels. And Robbie could have had his hat-trick and Gakpo could have got in on the act there. Both of them unmarked on their heels at the far post there. But Sweden bring the ball up to the halfway line. Karlström looking for some options. Plays it out to the left-hand side to Gudmundsson. Back to Karlström. Plays it across to Hein. Hein plays it out to the right-hand side. Bernhardsson. Plays it back as Sweden now just bring the ball back. As Lindelof brings the ball into the Dutch half. He finds Isak. It's Nygren again! Ayori with the shot. Coming in from the left-hand side. A powerful shot. I'm not sure if Verbruggen got a touch on that. Oh, no, he just pulled his hand away as the ball just sailed over the crossbar in the middle of the goal. There's some good play there from the Dutch. And as we have a little look at the earlier effort from Sweden, that was well saved to his left-hand side by Verbruggen. Oh. The ball drops and Sweden win it halfway inside their half as the Dutch back on the ball now. De Jong plays it to Van Dijk. Just taking the sting out of the game. Bringing it to a walking pace. Plays it out to Van Hek on the right. He plays it back to Van Dijk. He's in the middle of the pitch, bringing the ball up to the centre circle. He finds Frankie de Jong, who plays it along the halfway line to Van Heck. Van Heck brings the ball forward, plays it back across the left-hand side to Van Dijk, who's just inside his own half. Knocks it on to Van der Ven. Van der Ven to Gakpo. Gakpo really is hugging that left-hand touchline, spreading the Swedish defence all the way across the back line. Van Dijk into de Jong. Nice little turn to Reinders. Back to de Jong. De Jong to Dumfries. Lets the to Marlon. As the Marlon lets the ball go out to Dumfries. Dumfries to Marlon. Well, that's Reinders, sorry. Reinders to Dumfries. And Dumfries back to Van Heck, who's in his own half. Across to the left-hand side to Van Dijk. Van Dijk on the ball. A little soft pass to Van Heck towards the right-hand side. Van Heck to Daniel Marlon. He's looking for his explosive pace. Down the right-hand side. Plays it to Dumfries. The cross took a little clip off the Swedish defender, which took the pace out of the cross, and it went through nicely to Norveld. Excuse me. Did that come off an arm? Are we leaning into it? No. As Norveld plays the ball out to the left-hand side. It's Goodmanson bringing the ball up. Charging forward. And that's got to be a free kick to Sweden. Dumfries just clipping the heels of Goodmanson there. Nice little burst forward there from Goodmanson. Taking the initiative, getting Sweden on the front foot. Oh, it's Gravenberch who just caught the heels of Goodmanson. And it's a free kick to Sweden on the left-hand side. Slightly to the left of the 18-yard box. Maybe 5-8 yards outside of the box. Perfect for a left-footed in-swinger. The Celtics' Benjamin Nygren to take the free kick. He'll look to clip this in. Sweden have sent the big boys up from the back. And the ball's clipped in and back to 2-1! What a lovely goal. I think that's the Celtic connection. The free kick flipped into the middle of the box. Oh, the goal's been ruled out. A lovely free kick clipped in by Nygren. And it was Lagerbielke who's could be offside. Just coming back from an offside position, gets in behind the Dutch defence, just beats Verbruggen to the ball, just knocks it on. But I do believe he was in an offside position, Nicholas.
He might well have been, but to me that looked very convincing. I'm surprised this isn't going to go to a VAR check because I felt that Lagerbielke was in the correct position to head in the goal.
It was a good header and a long kick for Verbruggen up to the Sweden 18-yard box. A good header from Goodmanson, and it's the Dutch who retain possession just inside the Sweden half. As de Jong plays the ball out to the left. Cody Gakpo looking to beat his man Bernardsson and drives to the byline, gets the ball in, and it's curled all the way back out of the 18-yard box and booted away. And that's a good firm header from Van Heck. And the ball goes out for a Sweden throw-in on the left-hand side. Taken quickly by Goodmanson, who throws it down to Lindelof. Lindelof bringing the ball forward, plays it into the middle. Back to Lindelof, out to the left-hand side here. Goodmanson turns back to Lindelof. He's just bringing the ball forward, walking pace. Plays the ball up to Ayari. Across to Lagerbielke. Lagerbielke inside as Sweden turn on the attack. As the ball's been played out, coming out to the left-hand side. And Sweden win a free kick in a very dangerous position. And that's Denzel Dumfries clipping the heels, tripping up Yasin Ayari. Yeah, just stood on his foot there. And that's about a yard outside of the 18-yard box. Yasin Ayari doing well there. about midway in between the 18-yard line and the 6-yard line, a yard outside the 18-yard box. Verbruggen organising his wall. 1, 2, 3, 5-man wall with one behind. Victor Gyökeres with the ball in hand. Benjamin Nygren eyeing it up. Was that Alexander Isak I see there as well? Oh, Alexander Hein. It's the Swedish fans waiting in anticipation. Gyökeres, we know he can hit a ball. Benjamin Nygren, a fantastic return goals-wise for Celtic this season. It looks like it's going to be Gyökeres. Deep breaths. Assessing his options with Benjamin Nygren. Verbruggen to his left-hand side. The wall covering the right-hand side. And it's, a great free kick from Gyökeres, and Verbruggen down well to his left-hand side to beat the ball away for a Sweden throw-in. Do excuse me as we're into 4 minutes of stoppage time, which are nearly up. It's the throw-in. Look, it looks like it's going to be a long throw from Sweden. Thrown in, and the ball's headed out, and on the volley, headed out at the near post and coming out to Benjamin Nygren on the edge of the box on the volley. Didn't trouble Verbruggen there. But a good free kick from Gyökeres, and the Swedes starting to get some efforts on target, Nicholas.
Yes, they finally are, and that was an amazing free kick by Gyökeres, but he just couldn't get past Verbruggen.
As Van Dijk wins a header, there's a Sweden player down. Following the challenge in the air by Van Dijk. The free kick been awarded? It has been, as they look to get it down the right-hand side quickly to Bernardsson, who looks to come inside. He's got two Dutch defenders with him. Van der Ven wins the ball back. He's bringing the ball's being brought up on the left-hand side. Played back, knocked into the middle. And the Dutch forwards leaving it to each other. And Sweden back in possession, halfway inside the Dutch half, winning the ball. Coming to, he tried to play the ball through. Iori over to Gyökeres. Cut out the first time, but Gyökeres has got it back. Gyökeres back to Iori, who's, had a shot from outside the 18-yard box. And Verbruggen down well to his right-hand side this time. I'm not, did he get a hand to it or did it just hit the post? I'd like to see that one again. The ball comes back to Iori. First time hit along the floor. And yes, Verbruggen gets down well to his right-hand side. That was creeping in. And a good save. The ball goes out for a corner on the Sweden left-hand side. Going to be whipped in. The ball comes in. Headed away by the Dutch defence. And the ball comes out. And the referee's blown for half-time. As Graham Potter will go heads down the tunnel. He's going to need a very motivational team talk at half-time. Sweden doing very well to get back into the game come the latter stages of the half, but the Dutch have been, I would say, in control for 40-odd minutes of this first half. What would you say, Nicholas? I would have to agree with you, Dan. It's certainly been the Netherlands for much of the game. 60% possession, no wonder. They've had 5 shots, 4 on target. But as you mentioned, Sweden starting to catch up. Graham Potter will need to drive some extra motivation into him. Shake a stick if necessary. That could well make the difference in the second half. I think they certainly need to do something. De Jong, time and space, and he's really pulling the strings from the middle of the park, isn't he? Fantastic player.
Yes, he is. Not bad for someone who was a doubtful because of a stomach problem. But he certainly showed that he has done really well, being one of the Colton machines. So his attitude has been stomach problem. What stomach problem?
Well, you wouldn't. Yes, you certainly wouldn't know it from his performance in the first half.
We appear to have.
Thank you, Dan, and to Nick for the first half coverage. We'll be back with them in plenty of time for the start of the second half, where the Netherlands are leading by 2-0 against Sweden at half time. Before Nick goes away, as well as then just goes to get a refreshment at half time, we'll just bring in Nicholas for a moment. And Nick, in that first start, 2 good goals from Brian Robbie. Oh, Sweden have come back into it. And what have you made to Sweden's response since going 2-0 down and after that hydration break as well, Nick?
Well, the hydration break has certainly worked to their favour, and as I mentioned to Dan in commentary, Graham Potter will need to drive some extra motivation into Sweden going into the second half. Basically, I think he might say something like, "That was a great 10 minutes. That was a great last 10 minutes, lads. We just need to keep it up and also to up our game." They certainly did up their game, and they were just unlucky to be denied by the offside.
They were indeed, Nicholas. Yes, I'll go and let you go for a break now as well. Then Nicholas will get you. We will be back with Dan and Nick in a few moments' time for the start of the second half. If you're new here today and you're listening for the very first time, please like and subscribe to this wonderful channel. Share it out to your friends. Share it out to your family. We're looking to grow this great channel. But at our time at the NRG Stadium, it is Netherlands 2, Sweden 0. And coming up after us on this programme today, Paul James will bring us commentary later on Germany against Ivory Coast to the BMO Field in Toronto, 9 o'clock kickoff UK time. Make sure you join us for that one. But at half time in our match this afternoon, in this early kickoff, which kicked off at 6 o'clock UK time, it is the Netherlands 2, Sweden 0. Join us for second half action shortly. Welcome back to the CommentReb's coverage of the game between the Netherlands and Sweden, where it is 2-0 to the Netherlands at half time. I am joined by Nicholas Jones. And Nick, Sweden, we did touch on it briefly, had some chances towards the end of the first half. Victor Gyökeres from a free kick. Ayari's gone close as well. Do you think they need to get Ayari and Gyökeres more into the game, more Sweden, and cause the Dutch problems like that, Nick? In your opinion?
Well, I would have to say Gyökeres needs to be more involved. Ayari certainly showed his strong points as well, and also Isak had a good few goes himself. I have to say, with these three being more involved up front, I don't see why. I don't see why without them up front more often, Sweden could overturn the deficits.
Yes, and what do you think? Obviously, the Dutch are leading right now. What do you reckon Ronald Koeman will be saying to his players? Because the 2-0 up, but Sweden did have that last 10 minutes or so in the game after the that next period after the hydration break. So what do you think Ronald Koeman will be saying to his players there, Nick, compared to about their performance in the second half?
They may have lacked the Netherlands may have lacked momentum a bit. I think Koeman will probably be saying that was a good majority of the first half, but we are losing ground. We just need to step it up and take things a bit further.
Yes, absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. We'll be back with Nick and Dan in a few minutes. Time ready for the second half. Just a reminder, our next live offering comes from Germany against Ivory Coast. That kicks off at 9 o'clock at BMO Field, British summertime or UK time, for wherever you are listening in the world. So that's coming up in just under 2 hours time right here on the channel. Just while we've got everyone here and people listening to this one today, just a reminder, as Mike said on his commentary last night of Scotland against Morocco, we will not be on air tomorrow with any games due to the Father's Day in the UK. So all our team will be taking Sunday off ahead of tomorrow's games. We'll be back with you on Monday, which will announce what game will be up on Monday during our coverage of the game between Germany and Ivory Coast, which will be on the way for you after this one this evening. But just going to bring in our main commentator at the moment, Daniel Money. And Dan, just a brief question for you, looking at this in the second half. Sweden the last 10 minutes. Do you think the Netherlands will be saying they need to stop that from happening again in the second half after the hydration break? Because when the hydration break happens, that's when the change in momentum seems to happen in the match. We saw it in the England game, we saw it in some of the other matches as well. Do you feel this is where momentum changes when you have that hydration break for you, Dan?
I think immediately after the hydration break, the Dutch still remained in control. It wasn't until the last 10 minutes of the half that Sweden really seemed to get going in an attacking sense. For Sweden, you definitely want to see more of the last 10 minutes throughout the entire second half. And Ronald Koeman will probably be telling his players that for the first quarter of the first half, before the hydration break, that's what he wants. He wants to see more of from his team. Control the ball, press high, win the ball back, get on the front foot quickly. I mean, Gakpo is really hugging the left-hand touchline, which I think is spreading the Swedish back line all the way across the pitch, which is giving the Dutch a lot of space to work in. And with Frankie de Jong on the ball, I think he's been absolutely fantastic. Playing the passes, controlling the game, dictating the pace of the game, and getting the Dutch on the front foot.
Nick, just what's your brief assessment on Frankie de Jong's performance in that first half, Nicholas?
Well, he certainly has shown a great performance. As I did say on commentary, he was ill for part of he was ill for part of the week, but he's recovered nicely, and he's just shrugged off his stomach complaints.
Yes, absolutely, Nicholas. Absolutely. The teams will be coming back out any second now, and it looks like the Dutch will be making a singular change at half time. So without further ado, with the players ready for the second half, let's hand you back over to our commentary team of Nicholas Jones. But first, Daniel Money.
Thanks, Russ. Welcome back, everyone. We're about to get underway for the second half. The Dutch appear to be making a change at half time. Hopefully it's not a forced substitution, rather a tactical one. As Graham Potter makes his way along the touchline. And it's Somerville is coming on for Daniel Marlon. The West Ham winger who scored his first goal for Holland in their opening game against Japan on their first game of the World Cup, and a good goal it was too. So it'll be Sweden who get us underway in the second half. No changes for Sweden, one change for the Dutch, and I'll just run through the lineups for you as the ball's played back. So no changes for Sweden. With Nordveld in goal, the back three remains the same: Lindelof, Lagerbielke and Hein. Bernardsson on the right, Gudmundsson on the left, Karlström deep in the middle of the field, with Ayari and Nygren just ahead of him, and Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak up front. And it's Sweden on the break now, and the cuts inside and the plays the ball, but the Dutch cut it out, and Sweden win the ball back. And there's a free kick to Johnny Reinders, wins a free kick there, winning the ball back. And Karlström asking the referee, who seems to win the ball, but he's gone through Reinders there. So, and another look at the offside there. Oh, just offside, Lagerbielke. Part of the arm, part of the leg. So the Dutch team is Verbruggen in goal, Dumfries at right back, Van der Ven at left back, Van Heck and Van Dijk in the middle, Gravenberch, de Jong and Reinders, the midfield three, Somerville on the right, Cody Gakpo on the left, and Brian Brobby up front. And the Dutch have the ball inside their own half as Van Dijk brings it up to the halfway line, plays it across to Van Heck. Van Heck knocks it forward, looking for Somerville. Somerville plays it in, and there's Brian Brobby, knocks the ball up, and it's easily dealt with by the Swedish defence. Not long, as Van Dijk heads it out to the left-hand side to Van der Ven. Van Dijk inside his own half, plays a pass into the middle of the park, getting Holland on the front foot. Frankie de Jong, as the ball's coming along the right-hand side. And Somerville looking to beat his man, plays it outside to Dumfries. Dumfries across, it's 3-0. It's the carbon copy goal again. Excuse me. Dumfries down the right, plays a low ball across the floor. And it was Brian Brobby who's got his hat-trick, tapping in at the far post. 3-0 Holland. Total control of the game again, Nicholas. A lovely move by the Dutch.
Yes, it certainly was a lovely move. Yes, it certainly was a lovely move by the Netherlands, and I did say that Brobby could get his hat trick, and he has. Crucial for the Netherlands to catch Sweden out this early on, and Sweden now have a lot of work to do to get themselves back into it.
I apologise, listeners. It wasn't Brobby who got the touch. He slid in and just missed the ball, and it was Cody Gakpo at the far post who tapped in to make it 3-0. So Brobby still waiting for his third goal to claim the hat-trick. It's Cody Gakpo on the score sheet. It's Netherlands 3, Sweden 0. Sweden get us back underway. And they're playing the ball back up into the middle of the park. As they play it out to Bernardsson on the right wing. Inside, coming up, plays a ball up to the along the right-hand side up to the Dutch penalty box. And it's Van der Ven who sees the ball out for a goal kick. But now the Swedes really do have their work cut out. Verbruggen takes the goal kick quickly out to the right-hand side. Dumfries on the right-hand side touchline. Just brings the ball, puts his foot on the ball, brings it back, plays it back into Van Hecke into the middle of the park. Van Hecke plays it out towards the left to Van Dijk, who's walking the ball up towards the halfway line. Patience from the Dutch here. Plays it to Van Hecke. Van Hecke to Van Dijk. There's some 1-2s there between Van Hecke and Van Dijk in the middle of the park, along the edges of the centre circle as the Sweden start to press now. Give them less time on the ball. Gakpo on the left, and the ball's been played up. Brobby tucks it inside to Gakpo. Gakpo on the charge. You're going to get a shot off. It comes off a Swedish defender and takes the sting out of it, and the ball goes through to Nordveld. Gakpo questioning to see whether he was entitled to a free kick there. Referee says no. Sweden have the ball on the right-hand side. It's played into Kohlström, who's bringing the ball up towards the left-hand side, still inside his own half. He plays it across to Ayari. Ayari plays it out to the left-hand side. Lindelof. And the Sweden now taking the pace out of the game, bring it to a Wilkins pace. And it's Hein to Lagerbielke. Lagerbielke out to Bernardsson. Bernardsson plays it inside. That's a heavy touch into space by Ayari, who whips the cross in. And no one there. It goes all the way across the 6-yard box out to the left-hand side. And it's gone out for a throw-in to the Swedes. Well defended there by Somerville. And they take the throw-in quickly. And they start bringing the ball back into the middle. Back out to the left-hand side. Into the middle. Isak to Ayari. Who plays it across. And the ball's coming back now. Over to the right-hand side. Hein puts his foot on the ball. Goes back to the left-hand side to Lindelof. He plays it inside. Plays it up towards the 18-yard box. Now the Swedes looking promising on the attack as they're spreading the ball out wide. Bernardsson whips the ball in. And that's just, a bit too high. Lagerbielke wins it back, heads it back into the penalty box. And the ball, Van Dijk lost flight of the ball there. And it's been headed out for a throw into Sweden, roughly in line with the 6-yard box on the right-hand side. Will we see another long throw launched into the Dutch box? Sweden packing the penalty box. Hines up there. It's Gudmundsson with the long throw. Lindelof was in there. Lagerbielke was in there. A long throw. Flicked on. Touched out to the edge of the box in a first-time effort. Charged down. And the ball played out with a lot of power. And it's gone out for a Dutch goal kick. A lot of pace on that from Gudmundsson. From that throw-in. As the Sweden win the ball back in the middle of the park. Just inside the Dutch half. As it's Nygren looking for some options. Plays the ball back to Kohlström. He's got his foot on it. He plays it out to the left-hand side to Lindelof. Lindelof plays it in, looking for Alexander Isak, who tries to flick it onto Gyökeres, who's made the run, and the ball was played just behind him. And Somerville tries to bring the ball away for the Dutch, and he's brought down. And that'll be a free kick and the first yellow card of the game. And that is gone to number 5, Gudmundsson, for bringing down Somerville, preventing a promising attack inside the Dutch half. He'll have to watch himself now for the rest of this half up against Somerville. We know Somerville's pacey. We know he's got tricks. He'll have to watch his step, Nicholas, won't he?
Yes, he certainly will. And as Gudmundsson is one of Sweden's key players, to lose him to a red card would be such a blow.
Holmström. Sweden have the ball on the edge of their box. Lindelof. To Lagerbielk. Hein knocks it long. Looking for the run of Victor Gyökeres. Van Heck with the header. Oh, as Gakpo was waiting for the ball to come to him, and it's Bernardsson who's burst forward. He's on the edge of the box. He plays it out to Alexander Isak, who had to check his run and get back on side, and he's just lost control of it, and the Dutch win the ball back. And Isak's trying to win it back as the Dutch bring the ball into the Sweden half now. Charging forward, out to the left-hand side. Cody Gakpo into the Sweden box, cuts inside, right foot shot, it's 4-0. 4-0 to Holland. Cody Gakpo with his second of the game. A good move again from the Dutch. To Cody Gakpo on the left-hand side. Turned his man into the right, cut inside, and hits a low shot towards the near post, beating Nordfeld. And it's 4-0 Holland. And that all come from a Dutch break, from a bit of miscontrol from Alexander Isak. Can I have your thoughts on that, please, Nicholas?
Well, that certainly put the game beyond doubt. Sweden didn't use the half-time break to strengthen their attack. Cody Gakpo just fired it in directly, and his right foot is certainly known to pull off powerful shots, and it is with deadly accuracy.
So 2 goals in a very quick space of time for both Cody Gakpo and the Dutch, and that takes Cody Gakpo up to 23 goals for the Dutch in 52 appearances. That's very nearly a goal every other game, and I think this is what Sweden needed now as they make some changes. It's Kohlström and Nygren going off. Bergvall, the Spurs youngster, one of the players coming on, and Benelli. And Elanga. Was that a triple change there, Nicholas? I didn't see everyone come on.
Yes, it was a triple change. I'll have to take a look to see. Who came off for what.
I see Bergvall come on. It was Kohlström's gone off. Benjamin Nygren's gone off. And I noticed Benelli and Elanga's gone on. So I don't know who was the third player to go off for Sweden. We'll have to bring that to you in a second, folks. As the Sweden have the ball just inside their own half, bringing it up the right-hand side. That's the first touch for Anthony Elanga. He has explosive pace. He plays the ball. And the ball's inside. Bergvall on the edge of the 18-yard box. Plays it back as Gyökeres. Oh! No, Ayari, sorry. So a good turn on his left, coming inside. Firing a right-footed shot. Verbruggen diving away, but just over the top of the bar as the Dutch take the goal kick. Van Heck plays it forward to Gravenberch. It's back to Van Heck, now to Verbruggen. Van der Ven plays the ball up, laid off. A nice little touch as the Dutch burst forward with pace again. And let's have it on the edge of the 18-yard box. Brian Brobby. Gravenberch, he tries his luck from range, and it flies over the top. They've got Christopher Nordveld not troubled at all. Sweden might want to do some damage limitation here, Nicholas. This could get away from them very, very quickly.
Yes, Yes, they certainly may well be looking at damage limitation, and they needed to be in front in order to win this game and be on top in the group. This could cost them dear. They are possibly looking at runner-up or one of the third-place teams now.
Well, they've had their goal difference wiped out, which they earned against Tunisia today by the Netherlands. +4. Now they're back to all square with goals with the goal difference. The Dutch have the ball in their own half. It's played over to the right-hand side. Denzel Dumfries bringing the ball forward. Halfway inside the Sweden half now. Checks inside. Looks for Tijani Reinders. Back to Dumfries. Back to Van Heck. Van Heck into De Jong. De Jong turning, playing the ball forward. Clever little pass, but it looked like Gravenberch dispossessed. The Sweden come forward, and he's played through the middle. It's Alexander Isak. He's through, and he's beat. It's 4-1. Anthony Elanga played through the middle, using his pace to keep the Dutch defenders at bay and just knock the ball wide and high over Verbruggen. 4-1. Could the comeback be on, Nicholas?
It certainly could. And Anthony Elanga, Anthony Elanga almost caught out, but he showed his speed and found the target with absolute ease. Used his left foot, bang, straight in there.
Fantastic finish, and it was Anthony Elanga who has come on for Alexander Bernhardsson, who could now be playing at right wing back, unless the Swedes have made a tactical change. But it's 4-1. Anthony Elanga has scored as the Dutch look set to get us back underway. And I think why that goal's gone in, I think the Dutch have made a couple of substitutions that we'll have to bring you. I didn't see who went off then. I didn't see who come on. So De Jong and Reinders have gone off. And it's Koopmeiners and Gus Till who have come on for the Dutch. So that's 3 changes apiece now. Van Dijk has the ball. Plays it out into the middle of the park. Sweden win the ball back. It's still in the middle of the park, and the ball's played up there. Looking for Anthony Elanga again, but he just couldn't take the ball under control. A heavy touch, and the ball's gone through to Verbruggen, who's holding on to the ball there, taking as long as he could before Gyökeres closed him down, picked the ball up. He's dropped it, and now he's knocking it out to Van der Ven. Van der Ven slips it round the corner, and Sweden, as the Dutch come into the Swedish half here. Gakpo under pressure there, and that looks like Koopmeiners. Back to Van der Ven. Van der Ven to Van Dijk, who plays it across to the right-hand side to Van Heck. Van Heck plays it onto Somerville inside the Swedish half. He knocks it back to Dumfries, who turns and goes back into his own half and plays the ball back to Verbruggen. Verbruggen out to Van Dijk on the left-hand side. He tucks it back inside. Koopmeiners back to Verbruggen. He knocks it forward, and it's cut out at the halfway line by the Swedish defender. Elanga knocks it in to Ayari. Ayari back to Elanga, who's burst down the right-hand side, gets the ball across. And Alexander Isak in the middle just got a touch and knocks it over the bar. He may have even been pipped to the ball by a Dutch defender, and this could be a Swedish corner. But a good move down the right-hand side there from Sweden. Oh, yeah. Knocked out. Isak slightly off the pace. But some good play from Elanga, and he really has added something to this Swedish side since coming on. There's a corner to be taken on the Swedish right-hand side. Yasin Ayari to take the corner. That looks like an outswinger. All the big boys are up from the back. Tips comes in. It's one in the air by Van Dijk. And a header there from Sweden, knocking the ball down, and it trickles out of play for a goal kick. No one following the ball there. And the Dutch will get us under play with a goal kick. As we're just looking at the third goal for Holland, the onside. The lines are drawn, and Cody Gakpo was well onside as he coming in at the far post to tap in and make it 3-0. Have a look there at the Dutch subs. Frankie de Jong gone off, getting some fluid. As the Dutch come down, played out to the right-hand side to Somerville. In line with the 6-yard box. Back to Dumfries. Dumfries knocks it back. Coop Miners. Plays it across. Touch back to Van Dijk. Played forward to Gus Till. Till to Gakpo. Gakpo knocks it in and Brian Bobby's turned his man. And the swell defended by Sweden and it's knocked out for a Dutch corner. Good little play. Good play there from the Dutch. A good turn from Bobby. Got inside and I think it was Hein who come across. Took the ball off his toes and knocks it out for a Sweden corner. Let me get a view of the Swedish... I think that was the Dutch royal family there in one of the boxes. As the corners looks to be taken by Gus Till. Knocks it onto the far post. Ball headed out by Sweden. It comes halfway out into the half as the ball's played back out to Gus Till on the left hand side. He's made his track. He's knocked it long over to the right hand side looking for Somerville. Bit too long and the ball's gone out for a Sweden throw about halfway in the 18-yard box, just in front of the 6-yard box. As that we have another look at the fourth goal for Dutch. That miscontrol from Alexander Isak allowed the Dutch to regain possession, charge up the other end. Some nice work from Cody Gakpo, cutting inside and hitting it low past Nordveld at the far near post. But here's Sweden coming down the left-hand side. The ball's won back by Van Heck. Gravenberch driving forward. Plays the ball out to the left-hand side. Gus Till charging it. And it's been knocked out for a Sweden throw on the Holland throw on the left-hand side. Lagerbielke cutting out the play. Cody Gakpo down. Little knock there. Let's have another little look. No free kick. It's still the throw-in. And the throw-in's played long. And some good movement there from Brian Bobby. Getting down. And the Sweden defenders just cut in front of him. And tripped there by Bobby. And free kick's taken and knocked back to Nordveld. Quick free kick. Nordveld knocks it on to Lindelof. Lindelof bringing the ball up. Looking for his option. Plays it back into the middle to Karlstrom. And the ball's come out to the left-hand side. Lagerbielke. He's inside, just inside the Dutch half now. A little pass forward to Lucas Bergvall. Back to Lagerbielke. To Hein. Hein across to Lindelof. Just inside their own half now, Sweden. Lindelof back to Hein. Walking pace, he knocks the ball forward. A good touch there from Alexander Isak. Up to Gyökeres. Gyökeres to Elanga. Dutch win the ball back turned, but well cut out. Lucas Bergvall. Knocked back to Lagerbielke. Out to Alexander Isak, who's on the right-hand side here, cutting inside. Anthony Elanga has the ball, knocks it back into Isak. He's got the ball down by the byline, clips the ball back, looking for someone, and it's behind the players. And it looks as Somerville looks to play the ball up, and Sweden win the ball back, cut out, and it's a throw into the Netherlands. Gus Till there on the right-hand side. Challenging with Ayari, winning the throw-in. Deep inside. As the ball's played back to Van Heck. Van Heck to Verbruggen. Verbruggen on it. Plays the ball inside to Coop Miners. Bringing the ball up in the middle of the park. Slightly to the right-hand side. Plays it forward to Gravenberch. Gravenberch lays it off to Somerville. Knocked back to Dumfries. As he plays it across to Van Dijk over to the left-hand side. Van Dijk puts his foot on the ball. Takes the pace out of the game. Knocks it forward to Coop Miners. Coop Miners knocks it over the top looking for Brian Bobby. Some good running again. He's inside the 18-yard box on the right-hand side. Just come out of the 18-yard box and now the linesman has put his flag up for offside against Brian Bobby. There's some good movement there from Brian Bobby, Nicholas. He's looked lively up front.
Yes, he certainly has looked lively up front. This man has impressed me. But I'd have to say he needs to be used more up front if the Netherlands are to keep Sweden at bay for more. because as we've seen early, because as we've seen throughout the second half, Sweden are starting to regain momentum.
Is it Sweden coming up, and it's Elanga. Oh, what a turn! And he clips the ball back, and the ball's been cut out well in the middle there. Was that Van Heck? But what a lovely bit of skill from Elanga. Turning his man. I think that was Van der Ven he turned. And then plays the ball into the middle, and it's cut out well. But this Anthony Elanga has certainly made a difference for Sweden going forward since he's come on. And the ball's knocked up to Isak. Isak flicking it on for Jokeres. That's dealt with by the Dutch. Sweden win the ball. It's outside the Dutch penalty box. Isak just outside the 18-yard box. Looking for Ayari, but it's well cut out there by Van Heck. Bergvall on the ball for Sweden. About halfway inside the Dutch half. Plays the ball out to the left-hand side. Plays the ball knocked forward. There's Alexander Isak coming deep. Playing a 1-2 there. Alexander Isak knocks it out to the left to Gudmundsson. He cuts inside, gets the ball across. Oh! And that has gone all the way across the 18-yard box. There was no Swedish players in there, and it's gone out for a goal kick. Gudmundsson with a good ball, and it's now time for our hydration break. And Nicholas, can you give me your assessment so far on the second half, please?
I thought that the Netherlands had put the game to bed with those two goals early on in the second half. But Sweden are catching up. They just need to score more within the next 31 or so minutes.
So it's a hydration break. I would have to agree with Nicholas. The Dutch come out, Sweden looking positive, and the Dutch punish them. They hit one counter-attack, another counter-attack, and they was 4-0 up within a matter of minutes after the restart. Sweden trying to get going in an attacking sense. The Dutch dealing with some things very, very well. Elanga looking very lively and bringing another dimension to the Sweden attack. And I feel if anything's going to happen for Sweden, it's going to come from Elanga. Would you agree with me there, Nicholas?
I'd have to say it could well do. So I'd have to say it could well do. Sweden needs to win this game in order to maintain their position at the top of the table. But whether they'll go through the round of 32 afterwards remains to be seen. It depends on how well. Remember, it depends on how well Japan do against Tunisia.
And if it's anything like the Sweden game and Japan get a positive result and a big scoreline, that really could have made the difference with the goal difference, couldn't it, Nicholas?
Yes, it certainly could. And as I mentioned it, and as some listeners may remember, when I did my preview earlier, a little preview just before the start of the World Cup, I considered Japan to be a dark horse.
Yeah, I don't think you can never underestimate Japan. And another one I don't think you can underestimate is South Korea. Them boys, both from Japan and South Korea, always seem to be full of running. Fantastic athletes. As we get a view of the NRG stadium from the outside, an impressive stadium. Very impressive stadium. Can hold up to 72,220 people, and if there's a special event, can stretch to 80,000 people. Let's hope there's 80,000 people inside here today. This is a game that deserves 80,000 people to watch it. As Memphis Depay looks set to come on. And he's coming on for Brian Brobby. So Brian Brobby will be denied a hat-trick. 2 first-half strikes. Well taken. And 2 World Cup goals to his name now. As it's Holland who get us back underway. Verbruggen goes long with the goal kick out to the left-hand side, looking for Gakpo. Beaten in the air by Lagerbielk. Well headed by Van Dijk, and it's the Dutch on the attack again as the ball's knocked forward. Looking for Memphis Depay, get him in on the action straight away. The ball's gone through to Nordveld. He rolls the ball out to Bergvall. Bergvall comes over and brings it out to the left-hand side. Good pass to Goodmanson. He checks his run, plays it back to Bergvall. Plays it inside to Ayari. Ayari back to Bergvall. Knocked on. Gyökeres picks the ball up. And that's got to be a free kick. A little trip there by Gravenberch on Ayari. Or Gus Till on Ayari as he was charging forward there. No, that's Cody Gakpo with the little trip on Ayari. And it's a free kick. Maybe halfway in the Dutch half. Too long for a shot. The Swedes lining up on the left-hand side as the ball's clipped over. Headed out by the Dutch defenders. And what's the referee seen here? Nope, it's going to be a Dutch throw. All the players for Sweden can remain up on the left-hand side. In line with the 18-yard line. A long throw from Goodmanson. In it comes. And easily headed out there. And Bergvall picks up the loose ball just outside the box. He plays it to Goodmanson, who tucks it around down to Anthony Elanga, who knocks it back. Sweden clipping the ball inside and headed out by Van Dijk. Big header there. And the referee has blown for an infringement on Mickey van der Ven. Was that a foul? Or was that an offside? As the Dutch bring the ball out, playing it out to the left-hand side. Gus Till onto Cody Gakpo, cuts back inside, bringing the ball back, knocks it back to Kurt Miners. To Van Dijk, bringing the ball forward. Up to the halfway line, plays it out to the left-hand side. Gravenberch up to Depay. And he muscled off the ball by the Swedish defender who knocks it long, looking for Gyökeres. Puts his foot on it, holds off the challenge, plays it inside, and Sweden bursts forward, over a hit there, and well won back there, just inside his own half. And turns the Dutch into attack, and that's a little tug back. And a free kick to Dulland, and another yellow card for Sweden, and Yasin Ayari for a little tug back there. On Ryan Gravenberch. Yeah, little tug back on Ryan Gravenberch. Stopping the attack. That's 2 yellow cards now for Sweden. And we get underway again. And the ball goes back to Verbruggen. He plays it to Van Hecke. Van Hecke to Verbruggen. Verbruggen back to Van Hecke, who knocks it out to Mickey van der Ven, and it's come out to Van der Ven on the left-hand side. Van der Ven brings the ball up, crossing the halfway line into Sweden's half. He turns back. Kurt Miners just stepping on the ball. Plays it forward into Gravenberch, who knocks a great ball out to the right wing. Looking for Somerville. Somerville up against Goodmanson. He plays it inside. Ball comes back. Denzel Dumfries on the ball now. Kurt Miners brings the ball forward. Halfway inside the Swedish half. He knocks it over to the left-hand side to Van der Ven. Van der Ven plays it on to Gakpo. Charges forward on the overlap. Back to Van der Ven to the byline. And a missed kick there from Van der Ven, and the ball goes out for a goal kick. He kicked instead of playing the ball across the box there, folks, he just booted it forward. Miscue. As we have another look. There's a shot from Ayari earlier. Just sailing over. Sweden struggling to get going in an attacking sense, Nicholas.
It appears that their energy from earlier on has just started to peter out, and the Netherlands can sense that as they look to maintain their lead. If they win, the way Group F is looking right now, it is wide open, and if Japan do well against Tunisia, it could well be decided on the final match day.
Right, so it's Anthony Elanga coming down the right. He's got space. He gets towards the byline. He gets the cross in. Comes off a Dutch defender. Drops to Alexander Isak. He bursts into the box. Plays it along, and it's well cut out, and the corner's been prevented And the ball's come to Gyökeres on his chest, and he's just crowded out by some Dutch midfielders there. Excuse me, and the ball's come back, and the referee's blown for a free kick. I think they need to start looking to use Elanga's pace down the right more, link up play with Isak, and start looking for Gyökeres a bit more. Between them three, there's something that could happen, and that's Anelli who just pulls back Memphis Depay there. Sweden was in a promising position. Lindelof there with a rallying cry to his teammates. Verbruggen on the ball, plays it out to Van Heck on the right-hand side, in line with the 18-yard box, plays the ball up. It's the Dutch cross the good ball down the right-hand side, looking for Somerville to get in, and he's hit that first time, looking for a ball across the goal. He's overhit it, his ball sailed over the crossbar. That was a good idea from Somerville. The Dutch were in behind Sweden then, and a better ball across the middle, and the Dutch had players attacking the box. So, another look at Elanga's goal. What an excellent finish, beating Verbruggen despite the oncoming challenge from Van Dijk. So it'll be Norveld who gets us underway with the goal kick. And we're just Elanga there after he scored, trying to motivate Sweden to get some more. So there's Hein inside his own box. Oh, he's to Nordveld. He's being pressed here. He's had to clip it out to the left-hand side, and the Dutch almost cut it out there. As Ayari's gone off, and Taha Ali's come on, 26. They tried to get him involved straight away on the left-hand side, and he was beaten to the ball by the Dutch. It went out for a Sweden throw. They went back to Nordveld, who's then gone to the right-hand side, and the Dutch win the ball back. It's bobbling around, still a bit scrappy, and Sweden bring the ball out, bring the ball away. Crossing coming over to the left-hand side inside the Dutch half now, up to the 18-yard box. Cut inside, Ali lays it off. Played inside to Isak. As Isak turns, he's on the edge of the 18-yard box, looking for a ball through the middle, and it's cut out between Van Heck and Van der Ven, brings it away, and Van der Ven just knocks the ball up and out of play for a throw-in to Sweden, just inside the Dutch half, taken quickly from inside their own half and thrown back to Hein. Hein knocks it forward to Bergwijn, and a misplaced pass from Bergwijn straight to the Dutch midfielder. And that's Somerville playing forward, looking for Memphis Depay, and that's well cut out, and Bergwijn takes over possession, brings the ball up and into the Dutch half. He's played it out to Elanga, who's got time and space on the right, driving forward towards the 18-yard box. Bergwijn wins the ball back with a bit of a high foot. The Dutch and Gakpo's gone down, and it will be a free kick for Holland. I didn't think there was much too wrong with that there, Nicholas. Oh.
No, it looked to me like just a normal incident. Bergwijn, to his credit, did touch the ball. It's just Gakpo was just unfortunate to come off worse.
Foot was a little high, but you know, we'd like to see them game. Oh, he's got a yellow card for it, so the yellow card must have been for the high foot. I didn't see that studs were showing. As the Netherlands take the free kick back to Verbruggen. Verbruggen to Van Dijk, because Van Dijk looks to bring the ball forward. Up to Depay. Depay lays it off. Comes back inside. As they're coming down the left. Van der Ven back inside. Gus Till knocks it back to Van der Ven. He plays it across to Van Heck. Van Heck back to Van der Ven, and the Dutch appear to have switched to a back three at the minute, and that's a long ball over the top looking for Memphis Depay, and now, rather belatedly, the flag goes up for an offside. Depay preventing the quick taking of the free kick there. He's gone back to the goalkeeper Nordveld, as Nordveld plays it out to Lindelof. Lindelof just inside his own box. Back to Nordveld on his 6-yard line. Clips it forward up to Alexander Isak, who lays it off, and Bergwijn beaten to the ball, and it's come over to the right-hand side here, up to Elanga. The Elanga knocked off it, and that's got to be a free kick. Van der Ven just coming through the back of Anthony Elanga. Sweden, they're just playing some silly little passes in the middle of the park, handing over possession back to the Dutch rather easily, I feel, at times, Nicholas.
Yes, they're losing it. They're losing it hand over fist, and they're just putting in short passes and giving things away far too easily. It's almost like park football.
As Elanga comes down and whips the ball across to the far post, and that was Taha Ali. He just didn't get it there. But Elanga, he's getting time and space down the right-hand side, and I think this is where the Dutch have switched to a back three. Vicky van der Ven is part of a back three. He's no longer at left back, and every time the ball comes down the Swedish right, Elanga has time and space in which to operate, and he's got into the penalty box a couple of times, but the final delivery has been poor, and there's been no Swedish players in the box coming in. So it's a Dutch throw, right-hand side, midway inside their own half. Taken long, up to Depay. Depay wins the header, but it comes back. Dumfries with the header, and then Lindelof, or Ali, climbs highest and heads the ball out for another Dutch throw, just inside their own half. Depay the halfway line. He's looking for options here. Surely that's got to be longer than 5 seconds. He still hasn't taken the throw. Well, that surely was longer than 5 seconds under the new rule. He's thrown the ball long, and Lindelof's run the header. And Van, who knocks it back into Swedish half. Van Heck comes back with a forceful header, and it's cut out by Sweden, and they're coming on the attack down the left-hand side. And coming into the plays it along the edge of the box. He's got time and space and a shot! And what a save, Verbruggen! Alexander Isak receives the ball just outside the 18-yard box. Turns, gets it onto his right foot, tries to bend one into the top corner. And Verbruggen gets a strong hand to it and turns it away. Very similar to one of the saves he made in the first half, Nicholas.
Yes, indeed. Although he might have had an assist from Gravenberch to keep him at bay.
So the corner taken by Elanga, outswinger, headed away by, and another shot from well outside the area by Zanelli. Comfortable for Verbruggen. Gets both hands behind it, pats the ball down, and picks the ball up. And Van Dijk is down with an injury. The Dutch captain, they don't need anything happening to him. Maybe landed awkwardly. A stray foot coming down when he was on the floor. Maybe a bit of a dead leg. He's certainly rubbing his thigh, trying to get some feeling back into it. As the ball comes to Verbruggen, I think the Dutch have a free kick following that incident. Verbruggen has the ball just inside his own 18-yard box. It goes long and he's well charged down by Gyökeres. And I'm not sure what happened there, but mate, Gyökeres charged down Verbruggen. Gyökeres isn't happy with the decision. Verbruggen gets another attempt to take the free kick. To be fair, it looked like the ball was moving when he took the initial free kick. It goes, Verbruggen clips it out to the left-hand side, and headers from Cody Gakpo, and it's gone out for a Sweden throw. And the ball's played back to Hein. Hein brings the ball forward. He plays it back over to the right-hand side. Lagerbielke. It looks like Sweden may have got switched to a back four with Lagerbielke going to right back. Norvell goes long, and Dumfries wins the header, and it's back in, and that will trickle out of play. Memphis Depay can't get on the end of that. A goal kick to Sweden. As we start approaching the final 5 minutes. And the goal kick back. Norvell out to the left, back to Norvell. He clips it long. He's looking for individual players with floated passes. And the Dutch are winning the ball back as Lindelof plays the ball out to the right-hand side. Lagerbielke cuts inside his man. bringing the ball forward, plays it up to Jokeres. Jokeres lays it off to Bergvall. Bergvall out to Elenga, who's got time and space again down this right-hand side. Jokeres making the run outside. Plays it back inside. Elenga knocks it in, tries to find Isak, and it's well cut out by Gravenberch there. And safely into the hands of Verbruggen. Some good play there from Sweden. And the young Zanelli looked lively since he's come on. Verbruggen goes long and headers one there. Picked up by the Dutch inside their own half. Played out to Gakpo on the left-hand side. He tries to beat his man, Lagerbielke, who wins the ball back in a strong challenge. Brings the ball inside. From left into the middle. From right to left. Knocked onto the left now. Taha Ali into the box. Beats his man to the byline. Clips it across. Wins the corner. No, that's a goal kick. Just couldn't cut the ball back. Maybe miscued his cross. And out for a Dutch goal kick. And it's Verbruggen getting the ball. He'll certainly take his time here with the Dutch 4-1 up. Places the ball down just in the middle of these goals, slightly to the right-hand side. He's going long. See, now this is where I think the difference is, Nicholas, between Holland and Sweden. Sweden Nordveld looking to pick out individual players with floaty passes, and the Dutch are cutting it out. Whereas Verbruggen's going long, and when Sweden win the ball, the Dutch are very quick to the second ball, aren't they?
Yes, yes. Verbruggen seems to know where a certain group of people are.
Oh, and it's a shot. It's 5-1. Sorry to cut you off there, Nicholas. And it's Crescencio Somerville who's picked the ball up inside the Sweden half in the middle of the park. Drives forward. Excuse me. Gets to the edge of the 18-yard box. Hits a low drive and to his left. Beats Nordveld to his right. A despairing dive, but he just couldn't get anywhere near it, Nordveld. Another goal where the Dutch are winning the second balls and driving forward. Give me your thoughts on this goal, please, Nicholas.
Well, that final finish by Somerville has almost certainly put the game to bed. And judging by his goal celebration, he went straight inside the D, and there was just no way Lindelof could get through. And I have to say that the tables have turned in Group F.
They certainly have. 5-1 winners against Tunisia, Sweden, and then they're on the end of a 5-1 defeat here against the Dutch. 2 goals in 2 games for Crescencio Somerville, and I'm quite sure he will be on a lot of clubs' shopping list this summer following his relegation to the Championship from the Premier League with West Ham. Lindelof and Sweden, they look very disconsolate, don't they? As they're underplaying, the Dutch are pressing Sweden again, and it's knocked up. The Dutch winning the ball just inside the Sweden half. Sweden win the ball back just outside their penalty box as we enter stoppage time. We'll have to get your player of the match very soon, please, Nicholas. I hope you've been considering that throughout this game. The Dutch win a free kick just inside their half. Sorry, Nicholas, cutting you off there.
No, I think I almost cut you off.
Right, so Sweden just bringing the ball inside their own half, up to the halfway line, out to the left-hand side. Ali looking to make something happen. He's been dispossessed. The ball's been played into the middle, up to Depay. Sweden win it back. Coming forward, down the left-hand side. Jokeres cutting inside, getting a shot away. Van Heckwood getting a good blocking. It comes out to Ali. He plays it on. Ali's going on the outside. Ball played back to Ali. He cuts inside on his right foot. He's played a nice little ball into Goodmanson on the left. He tries to get the ball across, and it's very close to Verbruggen, who makes a comfortable catch. He just slowly, comfortably jogs to the edge of his box. And as they're drawing the lines now for the 5th goal, well onside there. I think it was Depay who won the ball initially before playing in Somerville. And Sweden come up the right-hand side. And Cody Gakpo's gone off. He's got an ice pack on his right forearm there. So, Nicholas, while we have a break in play, would you like to give me your player of the match, please?
Yes, I certainly would, and it's the man you mentioned, Cody Gakpo. Those two goals have certainly given him my player of the match. 4 on target, and with an accuracy of 82.4%, he is certainly well deserving of that. And in reference to where the ice pack is, I'd have to say part of it might have actually been close to his wrist.
Thank you, Nicholas. No arguments there with the player of the match. And maybe he fell awkwardly. A little bit of a sprained wrist. Maybe that's what the ice pack for. So on comes Elliot Stroud, on for Gabriel Gudmundsson for the final couple of minutes. As Sweden obviously don't want to risk one of their better players being given a red card. As the Sweden are trying to get the ball out of their own penalty box with some head tennis, and the Dutch pressing well and regain possession. Holland, and Somerville's gone down. The scorer of Holland's 5th goal. I'm not sure what happens, but he looked in some discomfort. And the referee's calling for the physio to come on. There was quite a bit. The ball was up and down, up in the air there. Oh, as we see there. Oh! That is nasty. Very unfortunate there. Was that Lindelof? His momentum carrying his forward and accidentally kneeing Somerville in the head. If it was Lindelof, he's a big man. Not the sort of person you want to tumbling into your knee first, is he, Nicholas?
No, it certainly isn't. Although I think I actually, for a brief moment, saw Zanelli looking over him to see if he was all right, and it's very nice to see that common courtesy still exists on the pitch.
It is, Nicholas. You're right, very right. At the end of the day, I don't want to see players down, hurt, and injured. The Sweden play the ball forward into the middle of the park, up to Gyökeres. He lays it off. Comes out to the left-hand side. Ali driving forwards towards the box, inside the box, cuts inside. He's overrun it. And the Dutch get a foot to the ball and knock it away. As Bergvall has it to the right-hand side of the Dutch box. He plays it out to Gyökeres. Gyökeres tries to play him again. Bergvall runs in for behind, wins the ball back to Gyökeres. Knocks it out. The cross comes in. Van Dijk sticks out a foot. Up and over his own goal. And that will be a Sweden corner as the seconds tick down. And this could very well be the last action of the game. As Somerville is still off the pitch receiving treatment. The corner is taken on the Swedish right-hand side. Looks like it'll be an in-swinger. Gives her a chance of a consolation. A good header. Verbruggen gets down to his left-hand side, gets his hands on it, and claims the ball. Lagerbielk with the header. Well held, Verbruggen. And that is the full-time whistle, ladies and gentlemen. Netherlands 5, Sweden 1. A very entertaining game here at the NRG Stadium in Houston. Thank you very much. My name's Daniel. I'm going to get a last final assessment of the second half from Nicholas. Please, Nicholas, can I have your thoughts?
Yes, certainly you can. And for Sweden, their earlier score against Tunisia has come back to haunt them. The Netherlands were just too good for them, and I don't know what changes Ronald Koeman made ever since their 2-2 draw against Japan. But it's certain, but for him and the team, it certainly has paid off. And they'll go into their final group game against Tunisia fully confident and safe in the knowledge that they are at least guaranteed one position in the round of 32. Sweden, I'd say, have got it all to do against Japan, but they could go through as either a runner-up or third place, so it's not all doom and gloom.
Well, there have been some shocks so far, Nicholas, and I think because of the Tunisia-Sweden result, we think Japan will beat Tunisia, but that's no guarantee, is it, that Tunisia could cause an upset or a shock against Japan?
Yes, indeed, they certainly could. I'm just going down to have a look at the permutations now, and Tunisia, they could yet still be in it. So I do see what you mean. Even if they do lose or draw against Japan, even if they do win or draw against Japan, it's not entirely over for them.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicholas, and we're going to hand back to Russ in the studio. Thank you for listening, everyone. My name's Dan Money, commentating for the Commentary Hub. Back to you, Russ.
Thank you very much there to Daniel and to Nicholas for their excellent commentary throughout the game this evening. In this early match that we're bringing you in part of a double header for today's matches. But before we go, let's run you through the match results from the matches so far today on the 20th of June in the World Cup. In Group C, finished Brazil 3-0. In Group D, Turkey 0, Paraguay 1. Miguel Amon saw red for first time red card for covering his mouth when speaking towards an opponent in the game. And those were the rules that were put into place at the start of the tournament. And then we've just had the brilliant commentary from Daniel Money and Nicholas Jones on Netherlands 5, Sweden 1. Coming up in about under an hour's time, or around about in an hour's time, from around about 8:50 on the channel. Please join us for the game between Germany and Ivory Coast. Who will come out on top in that game in Group E? Join us for that one, as Paul James will be the man to guide you through that action. That's all we've got time for on this show right now. We'll join us when about 10 to 9 UK time for the game between Germany and Ivory Coast. From South West Sweden, Daniel Money, our main commentator, and Nicholas Jones, our co-commentator. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Goodbye for now.